views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
Do you want to learn how to be you in today's world? Do you know what it means to fulfill your soul script? Well, look no further, because New Soul Radio with Ruby Bedi on Transformation Talk Radio starts now. Follow host Ruby Bedi as she explores original, powerful, and revolutionary concepts that will ignite an infinite fire within each of you. This hit show provides profound wisdom alongside radically simple techniques that collapse time, allowing instantaneous personal transformation. Awaken your potential and master your destiny on New Soul Radio.
Wow, everybody. Ruby, my goodness.
Hi,
Ruby,
Pat.
I'm Dr. Pat. Boy, do we have a message for everybody today, don't we?
Yes, we sure do. We sure do.
You know, I love New Soul Radio, but more than New Soul Radio, I think that when we started this series together, we looked at what was wanting to be brought into this world, what was wanting to be birthed into this world. What was it? And out of that came New Soul Science. And beyond your work in the world, a powerful spiritual thought leader, a modern mystic, clairsentient, born in India, and learned and understood what it means to step forward in a very diverse spiritual environment, right? Multi-religious experiences, and all of this in service of you stepping out, whether it be clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, it doesn't matter. This is the time to step out. And out of this was born, I love that it was born, New Soul Radio and also New Soul Science. And today, we're talking about now, as we come towards the next chapter of this series, how to be you in today's world. But this episode is to make your life count. Why? Why today? Why that title? What is it that's now up for us that we are ready, willing, and maybe able to get done?
We are probably after a long time, not just years, I would say a lot of ages, there comes a time and where we can birth a new consciousness. We can birth a new world. And this doesn't happen often. Maybe it takes hundreds of years for it to come. And before that new birthing, we will see the old world dying in front of us. It's like losing a baby, losing a child. Everything you nurtured, everything you gave birth to, you created, it's dying in front of you. It's withering in front of you. So those beliefs, those rules, those aspects of yourself, you're forced to look at the world differently. So we have seen a lot of chaos. That was just withering of old ideas and the old world. So it's like a snake shedding its skin. And that's the best way to describe this in spiritual terms too. But this is the first time, Pat, that we have a new atmosphere for that we can embody inside. We can create a brand new atmosphere, a brand new environment that will actually give us new thoughts, a new level of intelligence, new spiritual dimensions. So if we have seen the birthing of poets and scientists far and in between, now we are going to see in masses, in big numbers. You're going to see world leaders, world creators now already in body, but now they're going to start delivering. So we've just brand new phase, like brand new. The baby is few days old, one may say. And I'm sure those who are intuitive can feel that already. And by spring or next summer, we actually should be able to stand up and already speak what we are about and create the changes we need. So probably the best time in the history of consciousness and the history of our world, Pat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, here's the thing I love about this. I was talking with you before we started the show. And one of the things I was saying to you is that the listeners have heard us talk about the vision we've had now for about 4 years. And, that vision for creating a platform that connects people all over the world with positive messages, positive imagery, positive and powerful tools and ways to change your life. And one of the things that I was struck by this morning was we are now getting ready to hire a new technical company and programming team, because one of the things that we're doing is we need an advanced structure for what our listeners want. And we could literally get it done in 90 days. And I was fascinated by that, because a year ago when you and I talked about it, the possibilities weren't so clear.
Yes.
The solutions weren't easily available.
Yes.
And now it's as if everything seems to be coming together. But I got to ask you this. Coming together, if we have done things to move the energy forward, what do you think? Because I think it's going to come together whether we have it or not. I just think the end game might be different for different people. What do you think about that?
Yes, absolutely. The atmosphere outside is giving us is more oxygen, one may say. But how we breathe into the atmosphere will change our game. So the onus is still on us. The world is ready for what we want to deliver. Never been so ready till now. But now to create that boldness, that transparency, and tell the people that you have come. And I think the first step in this is embodying your own power. And by power, I mean your own uniqueness, without having to change yourself completely. Saying that I am ready, I am prepared, what I have to offer is unique. Like there's only one Pat like you on this planet. There'll never be another one. There won't be this Ruby. There may be others, but not this. So I think that to take on that sense of pride and power, and that I am unique and I matter, and I can influence the world with what I do and what I say, but also knowing that everybody is kind of wanting the same thing. So we can't be stepping on each other's toes. Now, how do you maneuver this power? How do you maneuver your uniqueness without having to kill the other person and then stand alone or stand on top of them is the game. And that is changing your inner environment, almost embodying a new character, a new personality in place. So you're able to maneuver and play with the new rules, setting new rules, Pat, new rules for the new world.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm really struck by the energy that's available. And also what we're talking about today is how do we identify what our soul script is? And let's talk about that in the context of, what you've created in New Soul Science, the pre-birth script and the post-birth script and how they work together. Because, look, we hear a lot from folks, and believe me, this is we're going into 15 years now on our Seattle station, and it is a big deal. Most people gave us 15 minutes to do this kind of talk, and we've never been more excited, never had more listeners, never been really more in service of people out there. And yet I don't even know if I understand what the soul script is. So fill me in.
Okay. So let us look at it. My awakening was 1992. This is in Canada. And at that time, I started to work with people in this capacity of a healer, a mystic. And it was very suddenly, all of a sudden, one night, I had a new access to new dimensions. One may say insights that I did not know. Went to sleep in one world, woke up in many worlds altogether where I could see, I could pick information, there was wisdom, I could use this information. So everybody, I think from my own experience, and if it's true to me, it's true to human experience. We are all kind of the same, that we have inbuilt skills, powers, tendencies, uniqueness. We all have come with a plan. We may know it or not. And if you look, it doesn't matter. Just look at humanity. You're born singer, you're born poet, you're born athlete. There are certain things that have come with you with birth. You brought them. Of course, the environment can support it, or it can dissolve and dissipate those powers. But we are born with certain tendencies, certain way of thinking. And that is the way of the soul. That is your way. So we may have religions outside, we may have beliefs outside, but what does your soul say? What does it want to do? It has come equipped with all of that. All of that. So imagine if I want to take a trip to Africa. I've never been there before. And I start to actually prepare. So I'm going to check what the environment would be, what the climate would be, where I would be staying, what the social conditions are, financial conditions are. Like that, the soul, before it'll incarnate, nothing is just random, abstract. It will have a full plan. Which parents, like for me to be born in India, for me to have early, because that early influences of different religions and impacts of different spiritual thought forms was probably very necessary. But I was born with high intuition. Now, everybody is highly intuitive in something, Not maybe everything. I'm not highly intuitive, possibly in everything. But when it comes to the soul, who you are, what you will do, it's black and white. It's clear to me. So this gift was already there, but it took a long time for it to come to the forefront. And I think that's the environment we need to consciously create now, because we don't have those blocks that we can't talk about past lives. We can't talk about aliens. We can talk about anything right now. Anything, everything. So we can create the environment in which you and I can actually birth the new consciousness. Now, what was already in us, we already are there. It can now be delivered again and again and again. So we can deliver almost new insights. And why do we need to do that in our world today? We have to keep each other, we have to support each other by delivering and speaking and supporting. And we actually hold other people in place. We create an environment for them. I think the world wants us to do that because everybody wants to do something special and make a difference. Everyone on this planet. Yeah.
I got to tell you, you're absolutely right. Now, I have been, of course, the show comes out of Seattle, and that is where I live in this greater Seattle area. I've been on the East Coast now here for a couple of weeks, really out attending events, talking to people, finding out what's important to them, of course. I'm in New Jersey. We were in New York. We're up in Vermont. So, really here because we are really bi-coastal when it comes to our AM/FM distribution of the show. And, at the same time, I'm really struck by the differences between where I lived, where I grew up, my upbringing, how great the pizza is here. I'm just saying. But still, where I live today, the energy, the culture, the level of spirituality, how you can get amazing fish that you cannot get anywhere else, and just to perfection. I'm aware of culture. I'm aware of multicultural differences. I'm aware of that. But what I'm also aware of what you just said. My sense now, after talking with so many people since I've been here, is exactly what you said. People are fired up in a way that I've not seen them. Now, we want to say, oh, it's the politics, it's the election. And I think it might be here, but maybe it's not. What I sense is, because I've been around a few decades, is that people are energized around humanity. And when I say that, I don't say it relative to one party or the other or any of the parties. I say it because it doesn't matter who you talk to, the perspective that you get is energized around their view of humanity in their own way. I'm also really aware of the level of fear that is generated in the conversations about humanity. And I think it's like you said, I think that this is time for everything to rise up, because you can't have a dialogue if you're not talking about what really is on your mind.
Yes. And it's fear versus freedom. Anytime you want freedom, you will have fear. Because you have to, it's like coming out of a cage. But the cage was never there. We thought it was there. Like it was never there. But still we've perceived it. So people have perceived their family situations, their social situations, their religious conditions as almost like a cage. They've kept themselves protected. But you know what's happening all over the world? And it's happening absolutely to every human being. They want personal freedom. And when a human being starts to want personal freedom, they are able to also at that time balance and sacrifice. So if we notice now, people will not go so much after accumulating wealth. They will want personal freedom with personal experiences at their own experience, at their own cost. This is what personal freedom does. You don't do it at other people's cost. So if this be the goal of humanity, which we are seeing throughout, then it's only a matter of time. This breaking free is like a sprouting, where they are going to they have already found roots. They may not know the way exactly. They may not know maybe how to, but that how to is going to come so strongly in this climate. It's coming within 6 months, you'll see people would have found some kind of how to, like a ladder to climb, their own ladder. And they'll get there. Because it's just going to happen to all humans. Mm-hmm. It's just consciousness has risen so high at this time that we cannot put a lid on it anymore. So it's just bursting.
It's bursting. And I want to talk about this too, about what we can share with people today to kickstart their big plan based on the 5 principles that we've been talking about here over these months that are part of the New Soul Science, because, this is really the time of action. It is a time of action. It is the time to do things. I mean, I'm really struck by it in so many ways. And, people look at me and they say, no, are you out of your mind? Why are you adding more things to do? And I don't really see it like that. I mean, I think at some level, there's a part of me that has a sense that this is really not a choice. So my friends will tell me this is a choice. But there's something in this script, this blueprint, this postscript, where you and I, in a sense, we could choose not to bring the messages forward. We could choose not to write our books. We could choose not to build a network of positive spiritual talk. We can choose that. But it's not going to be pretty if you and I decide to do that, I don't think. No, what do you think?
We don't have a choice. And these, some of it, what we're talking about actually, are the 5 principles. And in this day and age, we have to adapt to the new speed of time.
Yes.
Our perception and time itself has shifted. So with that has shifted the entire spectrum of what we do, how we do, when we do, who we do. We are recalibrating intelligence so fast. In a dream state, people are getting insights. They're waking up in dream states. For example, healing. I used to get so many calls for hundreds of calls, people who wanted healing. Now, healing would take time. Even though we say it's spontaneous, I knew that it would take 2 hours, it would take 4 hours, it would take a day, or it depended on the situation. Now, Pat, it's instant. Even I am shocked. The results are instant. So there's nothing holding this energy. You're transmitting it. You are so transparent about it. It's clear mind, clear body, clear intention, and boom, it's taking root. I'm shocked myself how healing and how people are awakening wisdom so fast without having personal experiences. Before we would have a lot of personal experiences, then these experiences would be integrated into some form of inner learning. But that process no longer is there. People are just delivering. So the speed of time, it's really, you have to be just on, ready all the time, and ready to shift, flexible enough, curious enough, and keep moving and keep learning. Because keep learning, you can actually adapt to so many different methodologies. You can choose never mind your belief patterns, you can now choose what you want. It doesn't need to be a set, cemented, concrete belief pattern. Pick up something to fit that situation. The situation will change. You will change. You'll find something else. We are fully equipped with the new knowledge and the new inner knowing. And just slap on your wisdom, slap on your thoughts, be transparent. It's not about that truth anymore. It's not that black and white truth. It's not good and evil anymore. Can you be transparent about what you're saying? Is what you're saying, are you meaning that? And are you really doing that? Transparency is a whole different game. That has shifted. Being bold. We don't need that bravery. We don't need that courage. Just speak up in that moment and we'll be able to. It'll be very hard to hold back at this time. I would challenge people, nobody will be able to hold back because this new boldness is in place. You will just verbalize, you'll be transparent about your thoughts and your feelings and everything else. This is another part of it. Then taking action without having to practice. How many times did we do spiritual practices? And now you can wake up, almost slap on your action. This is no time to you need maybe 5 minutes of plug-in time, some kind of plugging into your bigger consciousness, into the soul, into the bigger plan, and boom, off you go. Action, 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 action. So this time with so much, imagine a field full of concentrated, focused, intentional action. What results would we have? It's crazy. We can't even fathom the world we are entering. So this is the type of the new person, new human being. It's not just you and me. We may have done tons of spiritual work, but somebody who's never done will be able to deliver this also. With very little knowing that it's time, go, shoot, do it. They'll be able to do it.
Well, part of this, though, Ruby, is also looking at what we're creating in the world. And let's talk about New Soul Science for a minute. This is more about now that this idea has been given to you, right? And New Soul Science and New Soul Radio. And I think about how few months ago this show and this idea was born. And I went on this morning. And, we always take a look at, okay, how many places can I find New Soul Science? And I wanted to get to your website. So I did a quick Google search, right? The next thing I know is I'm looking at massive pages of radio shows that we did, but then the distribution of those shows out into places like Deskgram and Mixcloud, and places I don't even understand.
Yes.
And
yes.
what I love about this is the energy of exponential growth.
Yes.
Simply by showing up once.
Yes.
One time show up, and that energy and that growth goes. Now, show up twice. And I'm just watching the energy of this. And so
Yes.
the question that I'd like to talk to you about when we come back from break is this. When we think about the principles and how to be you in today's world, right? And what the big plan is, what does it mean to be out in the world and play to win for the bigger cause as opposed to playing not to lose? What does that look like in the world today? And I say that because this morning here on the East Coast, a bunch of moms were arrested or they were detained here in New Jersey. And I had to chuckle at this growing up in the city, Ruby. You know, I'm not saying that I was a big graffiti girl, but I'm just saying I might have had a few moments of it growing up as a youngster here. But why would moms be arrested? Yes. What did they do? What were they trying to do? They were trying to drop a banner down from one of the bridges that said, vote today. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, can anybody play small anymore and know that your heart wants more, wants you to be you in today's world? When we come back, Ruby's going to take us on a journey of how to do that. For those of you out there, go to rubybedi.co, BEDI.co. When we come back, we'll give you all the information. We'll tell you about this upcoming course that she's offering to guide us along the way so that we step out fully and hold nothing back. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Join Jennifer Noel Taylor on the hit show Quantum Touch Radio, supercharging your life on TransformationTalkRadio.com. You'll take a quantum journey as we reveal powerful yet simple steps to create more abundance, better health, emotional and mental vibrancy, and happier relationships using universal quantum touch principles. For more information, visit JenniferNoelTaylor.com.
Demystifying the Journey on From Here to There Radio with your host, Diane Garris. Tune in every third Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific Time on TransformationTalkRadio.com as Diane helps you get from where you are now to the life you envision. Get ready to get unstuck and move forward. Every show features a new special segment, New Age Notes, demystifying hot metaphysical topics of the day. For more information or to work with Diane, visit DianeGarris.com.
Hi, I'm Jane Matanga with Grow Your Soul Radio. Life is full of challenges and surprises. Your guidance is to move with the current, for it is in resisting the flow that creates problems. Ask your angels to help you open up your mind and heart to new ideas and fresh options. When you accept the possibility that there are other ways, previously unseen doorways will be open to you and you will move easily through change. There is a solution to every problem, so look at things with eyes of love and expectation. Then your life force will flow freely through you. You will feel healthy and alive and will be able to access the necessary resources and wisdom within yourself to help you through change. I'd love to take this journey with you. Visit my website, enlightened-path.com, so we can explore all that is possible.
Tune in to The Jen Royster Show, intuitive guidance to inspire your life, each Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This amazing show is an inspirational hour that will take you on an epic metaphysical journey to discover the spiritual approach to life's greatest challenges. Dr. Jen is an internationally known intuitive counselor, spiritual teacher, and energy healer. Call in for intuitive readings and visit JenRoyster.com for more information.
High frequency healing for an amazing life with Source Light Radio. Join host Laura Barton, each month on Transformation Talk Radio as she explores source light integration, a unique spectrum of energy, light, and frequency. Experience instantaneous healing and amazing shifts in consciousness with Source Light Integrations Radio. For more information on Laura and her work, visit sourcelightintegrations.com.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Yep, this is what we're talking about here. And when we think about Ruby, we're thinking about what she says yes to today, what she said yes to several months ago, giving birth to New Soul Radio and New Soul Science. Today is about how to be you in today's world. Before we jump ahead, what's the best way, Ruby, for folks to find out about you? And let's talk a little bit about what you're creating now to be launched in 2019.
So rubybedi.co, that's the website. But I'm pretty active on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. So LinkedIn, I could be found very easily and very visible. I have this workshop I've created, which we've been talking about, which will be launched about February 2019 or January end. This is the time I chose because that's where the new impact of this new consciousness will be. I think people will be ready. So my workshop is one day, and I want to change people, change their environment, change their inner atmosphere so they can give rise to their wisdom, what they want to do, their soul script, and walk out of that workshop with something, like a big plan in their hands. So when I talk about a big plan, I'm meaning the plan that what you were born to do. Exactly that. How do you want to do it? Because we all have ideas about what we want to do, but we get scared because we don't have the house in place. We don't have a continuity of house. So there's a lot of missing dots, missing connections there. So this experiential workshop, it'll have meditation, it'll have insights, very simple understanding. So you understand these 5 principles and how to use them. And we're going to create the shift in that one day. So I want people to at least give me one day of their lives and see the impact I can create. So spiritually down all the way into the mind, into the emotions, into the behavior, into action change. So this is the shift that I want to create. Align people to the new speed of time. Align people so they can calibrate intelligence, new wisdom very quickly. Align people to their bold script wisdom, to their bold soul. Because the fact they're born in these times where so much change is happening, it has to be bold souls who take birth in bold times. So this program actually is for that. And how do you create action and how do you shift from one action to the other? So these are the workshops. And I'm going to launch them in North America and India at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, this call to action is based on what we're talking about today. It's based on, the idea that we're here to make our life count. And I want to ask you this question. Let's talk about this for a little bit. There was a study that was done with a group of teenagers, and they literally took their social media app away from them for 2 weeks. And what they found at the end of that study, this is a recent study, they found different things. They found, sleeping better. They found more productive. They found other things that was happening in their lives. And so the question mark is, right, for us, as we live in this very, very actively engaging world, what is it that allows us to be us in today's world and then allows us to find the guidance to create enormous impact in the world? Because I do believe everyone has that ability.
Yes. And, talking about social media, we've been sometimes looking at it also negatively, because of course it's serving us so well. It's because of a lot of this we are able to connect and we're able to give our messages and share things. But also there is so much thought that it's taking our rest away, it's taking our personal time away, it's taking away from personal growth. But I think we're going to see a correction. Correction is not going to come where people will reduce their time on social media, but the correction may be that there may be a deeper restfulness in people. I'm noticing one thing, Pat, people don't need long sleep. They need short, restful time. And so that's another change. You need little bit of time, little bit of plug-in time, and you're on again. So I think that these times we're going to see the calmness increasing. Also the goals of, goals have changed. People are now using small goals. So you may have a big plan, but the big plan has many, many small goals, and they only do that one thing. And they're able to do that well. So when you're able to do that one thing well, one small goal, it'll open into something else. There's some sense of fulfillment. What happened to us in last 40, 50 years, the goals were so big. We wanted to be perfect at everything. In health, in wealth, in personal emotional behavior, in corporate world, in everything we did, which was an impossible task. We could maybe, if the goal was, I'll be 70% at all of them, I'll do them all 70%, we could have managed well. We stressed ourselves too much. Now, unless you're a scientist and unless you're a researcher and you have that one goal, which is 100%, I can understand that. But I don't understand how will you be perfect at everything? It's not even possible. Now, the younger generation is not interested in being perfect at everything. They will do one thing. They will make enough money, then they will do something else. Then they will do something else. So there's a whole shift in how they want to live. And I think there's going to be more calm. And Pat, they're not interested in a fight. They don't want to fight. They don't even see differences in color. They don't even see differences in religion. So a lot of the world actually is correcting itself. There's self-correction going on. Yes, some parts of the world are still living the old world, but this new world will be the dominant world. It will call the shots after a while. So we don't need to worry about, I think in 6 months' time, we will see more wisdom coming from youth than those who've had mega experience of life.
Yeah, I was, this morning, I was getting ready. We had to make a change in our programming today. And one of the changes that we made was the show that I was originally going to do, I decided not to do. I decided to wait to do the show. And what it was, Ruby, it was part B on an interview I did with the administrator for Medicare and Medicaid in this country. And
Yes.
it was an interview talking about a report that was issued that indicated, or at least the punchline was, that the United States is paying more for prescription drugs. And literally the study was only focused on a couple of drugs. It was really the drugs that people that are the sickest in our country receive. And when I did the interview, what I found in that interview was I simply asked some questions. And the answers were, for me, not really the kind of answers that would draw a conclusion that our Medicare and Medicaid systems don't work or that the drugs were actually higher. And yet I found myself in a very interesting conversation because, generally speaking, I don't take on really controversial issues because, for the most part, I don't really quite understand about possibility finding, and I don't see it controversial. Mm-hmm. But believe it or not, the view of that particular interview is really striking a nerve in a few people. And I wonder, when did the search for truth become something of an enigma. And I find myself in a very interesting place, a place I haven't been in about 40 years. And yet at the same time, how to be me in today's world, this is the next place. It doesn't mean that Transformation Talk Radio isn't a positive talk radio. I don't think that I've ever said that positive talk, in the face of truth telling, needs to change ugly. It doesn't.
Yes.
But aren't your principles all about looking for that place to grow tall, and yet be open to various opinions of diverse perspectives in life?
How will we bring wisdom, and how can we reach some place where we can actually look at things clearly if we are not talking, if you're not communicating? Because your opinion, if I don't listen to it, then I'm stuck in my four walls, in my tight spot of the mind. So dialogue is so important, and how we communicate, because we all have expectations. Talking about the medical system just very quickly, in my early years of awakening, which will be about 1993, 94.
Yeah, me too.
I had people were coming to me for their soul script to find out their big plan even then. And a lot of go-getters, bold ones were coming, but there were very few that time who were activists or wanting to create a big change. They were, but they weren't visibly doing that. So there was a doctor from Quebec who had left her practice, and I think she wrote her first book, Medical Mafia. At that time, I didn't quite understand. It was about the pharmaceutical companies, and it was about how much we are paying and why are we paying these high costs. And so some of that information didn't quite get it. But now that's almost like 25, 30 years. And now if you look at it, you look at the information that's coming, new information. A lot of it were people who were heading pharmaceutical companies and people who were involved in this field, the medical field. And there's a lot of, they're actually opening up their soul and they're telling us what is going on. So there's new information coming. So I think all of this controversy is very much required and needed. It's healthy to some point. We need that controversy. From this, we can start to be curious and start to read more. Now, I'm sure you will be reading more on it. You will be researching it more. So people will go into deeper insights. And from there, we will actually find that a lot of people are talking about changing things because somehow this high cost medication does not work. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work for all, just simple thing for me. I buy, because I'm in India a lot, I buy my medication there. It's 1/10 the price of what I pay. So the world it will change. It'll change. And the most revolution where we're going to find a big difference is in the medical industry. Yeah. How medicine is administered, where are they getting it, what is the cost, what are the side effects? You look at a lot of this medicine, you will die before you will start to take it. It'll give you this, it'll give you seizures, it'll give you this, and this is another story. But there is a revolution in this. So please keep talking. And sometimes, Pat, I think you built the platform not to make people feel good, but to make people bold. And those who are ready can step into the boldness to bring out transparency. I think that's what it is. This is the soul calling. Now, see, if you just had a business of a radio show, that would just be a business. But this is the soul call where I want to bring in the truth. I want to reveal it the way it is. And I want to understand more. And I want to help people understand more. This is the soul call. This is the soul script that you were born feisty. You were born to take on challenges. So now when challenges come, We can't back off. I get challenged a lot too.
Yeah.
But it's good, which is great. Yeah. Because I learn something from it and somebody else learns something too.
Yeah. I've never learned very much from not being challenged emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually. I really think about my life, and I think about the times where I've had an enormous growth spurt.
Yes.
And you talk about 90, 91, 92, 91 and 92. OMG, my entire life changed. I thought I was going to be a retiree from the phone company. That changed. I found myself back in school, then more school, then moving from the East Coast to the West Coast. And I got to tell you, it was like a blur. It's like it just happened.
Yes, just happened. And that's what's happening now. It will just happen. When we do the show 6 months later, when we're talking, we'll see what this 6 months has brought. So you couldn't have not done it. And this is happening on a mega scale now.
Yeah.
And, I don't think people will be looking for soul searching anymore. I'll tell you, a lot of your spiritual practices be, what do I do today with all of myself? Like, so another thing that actually is very brilliant is we should have high expectations of ourselves. I think somewhere we've minimized that. By this, I don't mean that I want to make a lot of wealth, I want a lot of cars, I want all of that. This means that inwardly, I want to feel good, I want to feel unique, I want to be powerful. So I expect that I will be at my fullest power. I expect that I will be on alert all the time. I will be curious, yes. So high expectations set high goals.
Yeah.
And if we have high goals, we can communicate them. So you and I can have a better conversation that, Pat, when you know my expectations, I've made it really clear. You've made yours clear to me. We will have a good conversation then.
I know.
Yeah.
So Ruby, I just got something from one of our listeners. You want to hear it?
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Hi, Dr. Pat. Hi, Ruby. I got the answer. You ready for this? This is from Jay in Canada. Jay, here's the answer. Jupiter is entering Sagittarius on November 8th, Pat. That's your planet. That's your sign. How long? A year. So he goes on to explain, this is interesting because whether you believe in astrology or not, here we go.
Here we go.
In 3 days, Jupiter will enter its home sign of Sagittarius.
Yes.
And it's going to stay there for a year. So here's what they're saying about it. They're saying, listen, dude, imagine if you really believe in astrology or numerology or the stars.
Yes.
They say, imagine Jupiter has been like a guest in the home of Mars. Oh, there's the answer. I have been a guest in the planet of wars.
Yes.
Great. So now it says, so Jupiter has been relying on Mars to fulfill its needs and requests. Jupiter's natural desires are for expansion. You ready? This is Ruby. Ruby?
Yes.
This is what we're talking about. Here it is.
And I'm a Sagittarian, by the way.
Get ready for this. Expansion. Wisdom, abundance, faith, hope, growth, breadth of vision, good fortune, blessing, bigness. And I think this is not just about
bigness. We're talking about the big plan.
This is for all of us to own this, baby. We got to own this big stuff.
Yes. Because, we've got the stars are aligned. But I'll tell you, we've got the stars, then there's cosmic consciousness. So we may say that the stars influence you, the focus is on you at a certain time, at a certain position, so we get affected. But now the atmosphere in which the stars are performing their dance, imagine the cosmic atmosphere also has shifted. It's throwing so much light. So it's not just the planets, but what is the space that is holding the planet's path? Can you imagine? That has started to enlighten and dance. So how can humanity and unseen worlds not become visible? And thank you, Jay, for bringing this up. I absolutely think that astrology takes us, gives us insights, but also, if whether you believe it or not, cosmic consciousness that holds those planets is talking to you directly. It's invested. It's watching. We have to wake up.
But it's fascinating because I was sitting here really contemplating this energy shift. And one of the things we know about Mars, or maybe you don't know about Mars, is, and to summarize it, Ruby, you and I have been talking about this all year long. We've been talking about it. And one of the things we talked about for this year that is really aligned with New Soul Science, it's also aligned with the Transformation Network. It's also aligned with anyone out there that has an idea of a life yes. That is a life of love, abundance, expansion, a good life. I don't care where you're from, where you're born, what you get. But here's what's interesting about this. It is kind of talking about this year that has been a year of growth by confrontation. Yes. It has been wisdom through confrontation. It has been development of faith through encounters with battle, with severing, with risk, with intensity, and courage kind of year. And so when I think about that, I ask myself, oh my God, it is not only true for how we've been developing technology here, but we are walking away from a previous technology. And all of a sudden, we're working with a new team. And they're not about that. They're about possibilities. They're about platforms. That's what you're doing with New Soul Science, isn't it?
Absolutely. I'm doing it inwardly. I'm talking about a new technology, inner technology. I'm talking about a new sense of engineering yourself and projecting yourself. And I think all of this is call not of the future, call of today. People who are listening, I think it's so important that your day is today. And every day is that day where you are unique, you are powerful. We're going to see that. We're going to really find support in each other too. We're going to build bridges with human consciousness, human emotions, lifting beyond what I feel right, what I think is right, what I think I should do, beyond the personal feelings. I think we are building a bridge that you and I stand together on this bridge. Let's make that strong. And that is the human consciousness. That is the biggest, the strongest bridge we can build. And we do it one thought at a time, one action at a time. So I just say small goals, bold, small goals, and then high expectations of those goals, and then clarity around it and communicating your goals and being curious. That could probably be, it's easy to do. And I think we're ready. Yeah.
It is easy to do because remember, if we believe even at some slight level of letting go of the war, the battle, the war, the confrontation that begins within ourselves, and we open up, then what we're opening up to a world of unlimited possibilities. Ruby, how can people find out more about you? Thank you for a great show. How can they find out about the class? Please tell folks today. How can they work with you?
So connect with me, rubybedi.co or Facebook. I'll keep you posted. Watch my posts on Facebook. They're very current, very relevant. I'll be announcing the workshops. If you want to host it, I will also not be facilitating them myself. So we've got a whole training program manual with it for facilitators. So if you speak well, if you deliver well, and you like people and you want to change their lives, you could facilitate this one-day program very easily.
Count me in. Count me in.
It's there. It's there. It's with all the graphics, with everything. So you just have to have the will and a powerful voice and a spirit to make that change in people, because you will be changing people's lives in one day. And I challenge anybody who does not change in that one day.
I love it.
Yeah. So again, rubybedi.co. And Pat, thank you so much. Without this platform, we would not be able to get our messages. They'll be in our head. Now they're out in the universe. Thanks to you.
Thank you. And they're picking up momentum. Ruby Bedi, everybody, you're going to hear lots more from Ruby. We're going to tell you about this upcoming class as we get closer. Now, everybody, stay tuned. Another hour coming up.
You've been listening to New Soul Radio, How to Be You in Today's World, with host Ruby Bedi. Thank you, and we hope you join us next month on Transformation Talk Radio as Ruby explores new rules for new souls and the ability to fulfill individual soul scripts and master one's destiny. For more information on Ruby Bedi and her work, or to listen to past shows, visit her website at rubybedi.co. That's rubybedi.co.
The preceding audio was via a Skype call.